There are a lot of people who wrote these eulogies for Senator Byrd in the newspapers, and I read a bunch of them, and they mentioned that he once had a fleeting association with a Ku Klux Klan. And what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. He was a country boy from the hills and hollows of West Virginia. He was trying to get elected.
Welcome, de cinco de cuatro.
The Villages, America's friendliest hometown. The Villages, America's friendliest hometown. The Villages.
I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that. The Guam population.
We have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, in too many ways, essentially a nation of cowards.
Reserves new opportunities to increase supplies.
And guess what this liberal will be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
But I think she claims Michelle didn't go all the way down. That's what I heard. I just want...
You might imagine most on the economy, right, and a lot of anger out there. There's so many people who simply don't think they're better off than they were 4 years ago. How do you convince them that they are?
Well, I don't think they're better off than they were 4 years ago.
I recognize, though, you raise a legitimate concern. People say, well, how can a private company compete against the government? If you think about it, UPS and FedEx are doing just fine, right? No, they are. I mean, it's the post office that's always having problems.
So the last 8 years is to take out a credit card from the Bank of China in the name of our children, driving up our national debt from $5 trillion for the first 42 presidents. Number 43 added $4 trillion by his lonesome, so that we now have over $9 trillion of debt that we are going to have to pay back. $30,000 for every man, woman, and child. That's irresponsible. It's unpatriotic.
I hate white people. All of them. Every last iota of a cracker, I hate it.
Everybody knows that it makes no sense that you send a kid to the emergency room for a treatable illness like asthma. They end up taking up a hospital bed. It costs, you gave them treatment early, and they got some treatment and a breathalyzer, or an inhalator, not a breathalyzer. I haven't had much sleep in the last 48 hours, so. What they'll say is, well, it costs too much money, but you know what? It would cost about the same as what we would spend over the course of 10 years. It would cost what it would cost us. All right, okay, we're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost for about, hold on one second, I can't hear myself. But I'm glad you're fired up, though. I'm glad.
For the last 15 months, we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 50 7 states, I think 1 left to go.
Under my plan of a cap-and-trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
You are absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're.
I love these members that get up and say, read the bill. What good is reading the bill if it's 1,000 pages and you don't have 2 days and 2 lawyers to find out what it means after you read the bill?
It seemed to me to be missing a very important point. Unlike previous examples we have had, where substantial excessive inflation of prices may have caused some problems, we are talking here about an entity, home ownership, homes, where there is not the degree of leverage that we have seen elsewhere. This is not the dot-com situation. We have problems with people having invested in business plans for which there was no reality, the people building fiber optic cable for which there was no need. Homes that are occupied may see an ebb and flow in the price at a certain percentage level, but you're not going to see the collapse that you see when people talk about a bubble. And so those of us on our committee in particular will continue to push for home ownership.
I've got 2 daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old. I'm going to teach them, first of all, about values and morals, but if they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
I love this quote. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. He ran a gas station down in St. Louis for a couple of years.
It's job envy, it's wealth envy, that we don't dream. My mother believed and my father believed that if I wanted to be president of the United States, I could be vice president. My mother and father believed.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Quote, I promise you, the president has a big stick.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
Let me tell you something. For the first time in my adult lifetime, I'm really proud of my country.